Good morning, Unity of Greenville. How are you this morning? Oh, did you notice some changes to the property as you drove in? It's beginning to look a little bit like Christmas out there. We've got some lights going up. So thank you to all of those people that were out yesterday working on the quilt project and decorating the building, getting ready for the holidays. We so appreciate your time and your commitment to be here yesterday in that blustery weather doing that. Thank you. Hey, we have an exciting morning lined up for you. You know, Unity of Greenville, Unity at large, has a very broad tent. We're a very broad tent. We welcome all kinds of people into our tent, all sorts of faiths. Some of the practicing and current practitioners of Buddhism, Catholicism, Lutheranism, you name it, find their way into Unity. And one of the things that we often hear from some of our attendees that come from some of those other faith practices is how much they miss certain rituals. So this morning you are here at a very special time when you get to experience the ritual of communion in a completely new and fascinating way, Unity style. So that's going to happen here very shortly, so stick around for that. Those of you that are home, you can partake as well, and we'll tell you how you can do that. It is World Kindness Day today. It's always a good day to be kind, but today is World Kindness Day. It's also National Hug a Musician Day. So we have a couple musicians that you can hug after the service. Yeah, that's always good. Friday, we recognized Veterans Day, and it was a time to honor all of those who have put themselves into service to our country. Today, that's kind of extended with Remembrance Sunday, as we remember those who have been in service and have actually given their lives for the freedoms that we hold so dear here in this country. So just thinking about those things, lots of things to hold in our thoughts, in our consciousness this morning, lots of things to be grateful for, lots of things to celebrate, and we're so glad that you're here this morning to do all of that with us. We're going to move quickly into our daily word, so I want to invite you to just take a nice deep breath. Maybe you've had a busy morning. Oh, this is such a great opportunity to kick your week off with your spiritual food, some good nourishment, and most importantly, I think, is getting ourselves quiet, getting in touch with that connection with spirit that we have that sometimes we forget because we get busy. So this is a wonderful opportunity to get ourselves quiet and to remember that. So with these breaths, we're going to hold on to the idea of guidance this morning. And our affirmation, if you'd like to say it with me, is I use divine wisdom to find my way. I use divine wisdom to find my way. When I'm pondering a perplexing question, or I need to make an important choice, I reach beyond human reasoning to the limitless wisdom of divine mind, never further away than my next thought. After clarifying my question and considering my available options, I release the situation, focusing instead on the divine presence within. And I affirm I am using divine wisdom to show me the way. In prayerful silence, peace envelops me. As I conclude my prayer time and resume my activities, I may experience a flash of insight or a more gradual understanding. However it happens, I trust my next steps will become clear to me. Confident in my divine guidance, I move forward with calm assurance. And Matthew 6:33 reminds us, but strive first for the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So take a nice deep breath of knowing that you are truly guided and divine wisdom is as close as your next breath. And with that, we pass it over to Reverend James.
Good morning, everybody. How you feeling today? Good. Do you feel like standing up? You don't have to. I just asked if you felt like it. All right? Hey, why don't you find somebody to greet and welcome this morning and tell them that, hey, you're the best looking thing I've seen so far. Best looking thing I've seen so far? Thank you. Looks like we have a nice group today. All right, you may be seated now if you want to, or you can remain standing. It's up to you. We're going to invite the children to come on up front at this time. Come on up, guys. Here they come. All right. Look at that smile. Yeah. You guys have your breakfast already? Did you have breakfast this morning? Okay. All right. You ready to sing? God is, and I am. I create, and I pray, and I act on the truth that I know. God is, and I am. Oh, I create, and I pray, and I act on the truth that I know. There is only one God. There is only one love. All right. Sounded good. Let's give the kids a hand this morning. You guys didn't have to do anything special to be a kid, did you? You just kind of showed up. Isn't that right? Yeah. Very good. Well, good job. You're doing a great job with that. So let's send them to their classes with a blessing. We love you. We bless you. We behold the Christ in you. We appreciate you. And we bless your teachers too. So be it. So it is. And there you go. All right. Okay. Lots of good stuff going on, right? How many here are prepared for a freeze this week? You ready for a, yeah. It's going to happen. You're leaving? Okay. Okay, there's many ways to deal with things, I guess. So, it's your choice. But we are going to have a little dip in the, a little cooler weather, which I was talking to somebody and they said, hey, it's a reason to wear sweaters, Absolutely. So this morning I want to share just for a few moments on the subject of communion. And as we go through, Lisa is going to share some as we go along and some of the beautiful quotes, and she just has a nice, calming, soothing voice. And so I asked her if she would do that for us today. And so, I think you're going to enjoy the service today. You ready to have a good time and to experience something maybe a little different, maybe a little new? Turn to the person next to you and say, that's okay. New's okay. Different is good. Right? Sometimes human beings, we love the same old, right? We like structure. We like patterns. We like things to be the way they always were. Because then we feel what? Okay. We feel safe. But if you open up just a little bit, you know what you discover? That there's way more out there. Right? There's so much more. Looks at the person next to you and say, there's more. There's more. Matthew 25, Jesus said, while they were eating, Jesus took some bread and thanked God for it and broke it. Then he gave it to his followers and said, Take this bread and eat it. This is my body. Then Jesus took a cup and thanked God for it and gave it to his followers. In Luke 22, it says, do this in remembrance of me. So what does that mean? Right? How many understand that when Jesus taught, he spoke in what? Parables, in allegories, and metaphors. In fact, he even said, everything that I teach, I do so through parables and stories. So he didn't really just come right out and say, this here is how you ought to think. What he did is he taught in such a way where he could get beyond the ego of people. How many understand that you do have an ego? Right? And if you don't believe it, ask your significant other. And they can verify it because they've had experience with it, right? So but we all have an ego. And you need the ego, right? We need the ego because the ego is that part of our personality. It's our flavoring, right? And there's nothing wrong with having an ego as long as you learn how to use it rather than it using you and controlling you in manipulative kinds of ways. So the ancient ritual of drinking wine and eating bread can be a beautiful way to remember our divine connection. What are we remembering? Our divine connection, right? Especially when we approach it in a conscious and an attentive way. The broken body of God is the idea of the belief in separation. Humanity has bought into this false belief, lock, stock, and barrel, right? And so Jesus' mission was to heal the beliefs in the separation. Make sense? That's what he was doing. In order for people to begin to remember their wholeness, to remember love, to remember their oneness with all things, oneness with divinity, oneness with each other. Now, this is the opposite of separation, isn't it? It's the opposite of division. Whatever guru, sage, or spiritual teacher that you listen to, if they are coming from the mind of God, this is one way that you can tell. They will always be teaching the idea of realizing the whole body of God, the wholeness, the wellness, the put together, the remembering, okay? So what is our mission? Well, our mission is the same thing, to heal the beliefs in separation. You see, a false belief has no power other than what you give it. Make sense? So you have to buy into it for it to have any power over you. You have to build it up, and you have to keep reinforcing it for it to feel real to you. That's why people are always demonstrating their beliefs and acting their beliefs out. Because if you really don't believe something, then you won't act in a certain way. If it's a true belief, it will lead to what? Action. It will lead to action. If there's no action, then really is it a belief or is it just an assumption? I'm asking. What do you think? Yeah, okay, thank you. So in Proverbs it says, buy the truth and don't sell it. All right? And we should be very aware of what and whom that we give our power to. Because there are all kinds of ideas and thoughts and concepts floating around out there in the mass consciousness of human beings and something called the internet. All right? Lots of thoughts, ideas, and concepts. Well, where is it coming from? Is it teaching hatred and division, or is it teaching agreeing and coming together and healing and oneness and love? Make sense? So, by feeding upon the words of life, or the words that give life. How many understand that words are food? And hi, I'm James King. I'm your chef this morning. And today we're going to be making a nice souffle called communion. We're going to add some little spices and some herbs, and we're going to make it so that it's very tasty. And that you can sink your teeth into it. And you can chew on it, and it'll be very tender, right? And you're just going to love it. And oh, the gravy. The gravy. Did I tell you about the gravy yet? We're going to put a little gravy on it, And oh my goodness, it's going to be so good. We're going to mash some of these truths together and create a wonderful meal for you. So a good teacher knows how to be a chef and knows how to create healthy meals with all the right herbs and spices. Tell the person next to you, say, yeah, that's right. And they know how to mix a drink too. What? Where am I? When we are drinking in the teachings of truth, how many know that we drink them in? We drink it in. Right? We absorb. We take it into ourselves. We chew it. We eat it. And we drink it. What does it do? It quenches. Jesus said, if you drink from this water that I'm giving you, this teaching that I'm sharing with you, it will quench your thirst. And you'll never thirst again. Ooh, tell the person next to you, say, I'm thirsty. All right? And what does that do? Well, when you drink from the teachings of truth, they lead to something. They help you to discover more freedom in your life, peace of mind, greater understanding. You may even get a little intoxicated. Say with me, whoopee! Now, we're talking in metaphors this morning. Say amen, somebody. So, I don't want you to go back to your 12-step group and say, well, I went to the Unity Church and they said it was okay to drink. That's not what we're saying this morning. All right. So, as we eat of the body of God and we drink from the teachings, we begin to rebuild the consciousness of the wholeness of that body. When I build my consciousness, I'm also adding to your consciousness. Because as I see a truth, as I understand and gain more freedom, then it rubs off on you, right? How many understand when you go to a good restaurant and you eat something that's really good, what's the first thing you do? You start telling your friends. Say, ooh, man, I had this great dinner the other night, and whew, it was so good. And I can taste it now. And I want you to experience it too, right? You ever have people do that, come up to you, and you say, oh, okay, whatever, No, somebody shares with me, I like to get recommendations, for restaurants and hear, what's going on out there, because there's new and different ones coming available. And how many understand there's new ways to understand truth? There's new ways for you to absorb and to take it in. We have podcasts today, don't we? We have so many things that are out there to feed us, to teach us, to cause us to drink in. See, but we've got to use it in a positive way. Say it with me. The internet is not negative or positive. Social media is not negative or positive. What is it then? It's whatever you want it to be for you. You can use it as a tool, or you can use it as something else, right? It's up to you. It's how you interpret it. It's how you see it. It's how you frame it. It's how you perceive it. It's how it feels to you. Make sense? So, this leads us to, as we become more free, and freedom is an inner thing, okay? Because once I can give myself permission on the inside to be happy, then what? I will be happy. But until I give myself that permission, it won't happen. A lot of people are walking around and they're not happy because they haven't given themselves permission. Do you know why? Because they're looking for somebody else to do it. Somebody else to give them, the permission. But you don't need to wait. You don't need to wait for it. Give yourself permission. Now, take that in and see if that's a tasty morsel for you this morning. What do you think? Give yourself permission to be happy. Give yourself permission to forgive. Permission to let things go and not try to make something big out of something that was just a little thing. But James, it was a big thing. Okay, if you say so. If you define it in that way, then it will be. How many understand you can make mountains out of what? Molehills. Yeah, it's an old saying. I wonder why it's been around for a long time. It's because it's a truth. It supports the truth, which is an inner experience. And so as I give myself permission to feed upon the truths of life, of God, of spirit, of joy, of unity, of peace, then I become that. Because how many know you are what you eat? And if that's true, I'm probably a pizza. Do you like pizza? She loves pizza too. Oh, good. You're good. Did you know that your blood contains divine DNA? Say it with me. I'm a hybrid. What does that mean? Well, I have the Christ identity inside. That's who I really am. But I'm also showing up as James King, right? And I'm not gonna say, oh, James King, No, that's my vessel. That's what I'm showing up as in the world. And that's okay, right? That's okay to be who I am. I am a human being and I am a spiritual being. How many know you can be both at the same time? Take that in, chew on it for a while, right? Drink it in and see if it fits. So, our blood contains divine DNA that our elder brother Jesus proved could be accessed in a meaningful and positive way. Would you say that about Jesus? Absolutely. So, the blood of Christ is the divine DNA that puts us in touch with our spiritual identity. Jesus realized it. He was the model, the example, to show us that we can too. You can also realize your spiritual ID, right? Your spiritual identity. Because it's in you. That seed of Christ is in everybody. Every person that walks this planet has the seed of Christ in them. It just has to be watered. It has to be nurtured. It has to be fed. They have to feed upon it. They have to contemplate it, think about it, work upon themselves in order for it to nurture and grow. Make sense? Do we have any gardeners here? What do you have to do? Yeah, you got to plant it, and then you got to take care of it. You know, it's like when the first time we did a garden, we planted this beautiful big old garden, and we thought, wow, this is great. And then we just kind of let it go for a while. Because we got busy. We got busy. And it didn't work out too well. Because you know what? It is a full-time job. And you taking care of your own spirituality is a full-time job. It is something that you will practice for the rest of your life. It's not one of these things where like you will reach the destination and here we are, we're in Greenville now. No. You're going to constantly be growing and evolving, growing and evolving. So what happens when you die? Well, you just constantly be growing and evolving, growing and evolving. It never quits. It never ends. Because if it did, then that'd be kind of boring, wouldn't it? Just be sitting around saying, yeah, I know the truth now. I got it all figured out. Isn't that great? So, when we were born, we entered into the world through a veil of forgetfulness. So, Jesus, the man, and Christ, the Spirit, becomes a reminder of our true nature of wholeness. When we remember Jesus, he reminds us of our own divine nature of joy, peace, and love. Say with me, I am joy, I am peace, I am love. Do you know that Charles Fillmore quoted Jesus more than any other teacher? He did. Though he was a student of all religions, and he had great respect for all of them, you know. So here is what Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore says from his book, Christian Healing.
Because the Word is the mind seed from which springs every condition, great stress is laid on the power of the Word, both in the Scriptures and in metaphysical interpretations of the Scriptures. Do I need that? I think your mind is on. All metaphysicians recognize that certain words used persistently mold and transform conditions in mind, body, and affairs.
Beautiful. So Jesus told the disciples that by feeding on his words and teachings, he literally, that you would embody the idea of spiritual bread and divine substance. That's one of the words that Charles Fillmore's used was substance. It was a divine substance. It was a thing, right? This is a thing. This is a reality. This is a truth, right? So, Jesus said, if you follow what I'm teaching you, then you will become an expression of this divine law of truth. You will express it yourself. It's not just about me. See, that's what we've done with Jesus. Is we've said, oh, Jesus is way up here, way over here, and we're all just little peons over here. Shake your head, no. Jesus is our elder brother, right? And so, he stated, if you abide in me, or that Christ's nature, then you can ask for whatever you want, and it will come to you. How'd you like that? Feed on that for a while. One day he shared with his disciples, he said, listen, he said, I have food to eat that you don't know anything about. And they said, what? Did Peter give you a bologna sandwich that we didn't know about or something? I'm sure that's in there. Maybe it's in the James King Version. I'm not sure. But it was the fact that he was nourished and sustained by contemplating and meditating on his mission and his purpose day and night. He said, for this reason, I've come into the world to fulfill this mission, this purpose. And what did we say the purpose was? To heal the beliefs in separation. So, this is what Myrtle Fillmore, from her healing letters, this is what she said.
I've tried both ways.
Oh, you have? Yeah, you're on. Can you turn her on?
Thank you.
There we go.
I heard myself. Yay. All right, the words of Myrtle. Know that the word of God is in your mouth and in your heart. Rejoice that this is true, and speak the words of truth with joy and power and love. Expect your words spoken and sung to bring results. Weed out all the destructive and negative thoughts and words and tones.
So she tells us these words are in your mouth. What does that mean? It means you've been chewing on them, right? Now, when you eat, you don't just put the food in your mouth and swallow it, right? Like teenagers. You actually chew on it for a while. True? Until you get it down to where you can assimilate it into your gut, because your gut likes it. When you chew on it and you break it down. Truth has to be broken down in order for us to understand it. The body of God had to be broken up for us to be able to see it, that you and I are all members of the one body of God. Doesn't matter your religion, doesn't matter your political party, doesn't matter your culture, doesn't matter what nation you live in. You are part of the same one body. Amen, somebody? Amen. Yeah, that's the truth. Chew on that. Let it become a part of you. Let's stop dealing in separation so much. Amen? Amen? If we really believe that we're one, let's act like we're one. Let's think like we're one. Let's create situations where we can find our oneness and come together. That's why I'm doing this class called Keeping the Peace. Keeping the peace. How do you keep the peace? How many understand that there's a way you can be with people that's not intrusive, that's not judgmental, that's not condemning, but that is uplifting, that is inspiring, that helps people to become the highest and best version of themselves? You can inspire people when you come from that Christ nature, that God nature, that spiritual nature, whatever you want to call it. Say amen, right? Yeah. Doesn't matter. God is not confused with words. That's us. We get confused by words. And so she said, expect your words spoken and sung to bring results. But how does that happen? It happens as you focus on it. You contemplate it. You dive deeply into it. You let it become a part of your being. I've discovered that if I really want to know what something is, I have to live with it. Right? I have to think about it all the time. I have to let it grow inside of me and become aware of it. See? And contemplation is a very powerful tool. It's just as important as meditation. You hear me? I believe that as you contemplate an idea, then you take it on. It becomes you. You begin to embody it. It becomes a part of what you are. Now, it's already there. See, a lot of people say, James, is it this or is it that? Well, I want to answer that question once and for all. You ready? It's this and it's that. So whenever somebody asks you a this or that question, say, it's all the above. Right? It's all of it. As we talked about last week, it's the opposite side of the same coins. So as we feed upon these words of truth, we begin to experience true communion of the heart. Now, consider this definition of communion.
Communion is a moment of grace and inner reflection. The sharing or exchanging of intimate thoughts and feelings. This exchange can be on a mental, emotional, or spiritual level.
Have you ever had communion with somebody where you exchanged ideas? You fed one another through those ideas. You shared, your feelings. This is how I feel about this or that, right? That is communion. That's what it really is. And it can be spiritual because it's really all spiritual. Say it with me, it's all spiritual. Yeah. So Jesus brought forth a new covenant or testament. You ever heard of the New Testament? Well, what's that? Is that a book you buy at the, bookstore? Jesus said, I want to make a new pact with you, a new agreement with you, with humanity, that's based on love, kindness, respect, integrity, rather than the violent sacrifice of animals to assuage your guilt. Because that's what they were doing back then. That's what he was addressing. See, the guilt, the fear, and shame. Well, that's something that he was wanting to deal with. And so that's became part of his mission, to help them to overcome that. To see that what you really have to do, you can go and do a sacrifice, and this is what they did. If you told a lie, you'd have to go get a large bull. I don't know if you got that or not. Anyway, and you walk it down the middle of the temple, and then it would be destroyed on your behalf, and it would assuage your guilt for a little bit. And you'd feel better because, oh, my sins are gone now. But then you wake up the next day, and you're still ashamed. You're still fearful. You're still, filled with loads of guilt because you haven't really gotten to the heart of the matter. And the only way you can get to the heart of the matter is through communion, divine communion. I'm not talking about the symbols. I'm talking about the reality. Right? It's what the symbols are pointing to, is the reality of that inner communion. That's what a community is. The teachings, that Jesus gave, he said, it's not only for Jews, but it's for Gentiles. We know who the Jews are. Well, who are the Gentiles? Well, that's the rest of us. Right? Everybody else. He said there's no difference. Why? Because it's a universal message. It applies to everybody. Anybody can apply these principles to their lives. Isn't that wonderful? It's fantastic. You can try it out for yourself. Does it work for you? And it's good to know that the divine is already within. There was a 13th century Persian poet who had some of these mystical inclinations, who experienced this divine communion on a regular basis. And he seemed to come from the same perspective of Jesus and Charles Fillmore, and Myrtle Fillmore, and many others. So let's listen to what our friend Rumi has to say.
There is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen. The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear. The universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are. There is a force within that gives you life. Seek that. You have more within you. You have within you more love than you could ever understand. Love is the religion, and the universe is the book.
These are powerful, spiritually intimate words. If you want to know their meaning, you have to go within them and feed on them and experience them for yourself. Like the word beloved. It's one of my favorite words. You like the word beloved? Feed on this word. What does it mean to be the beloved? It means to be well loved. Do you feel well loved this morning? This is unconditional love in its highest form, that knows and understands the true value and preciousness of another being. Say with me, I am precious. I am valuable. I am well loved. I am the beloved. We live at a time where there are some churches that teach the idea of redemptive violence. But I have questions. Does violence save anybody? Does war bring peace? Does might make right? How many understand that if somebody hits you what is your instant impulse? Is to hit back. Can you imagine a time when there's no more suffering? And I believe that time comes when there's no more war. Because it's the warring and the fighting and the struggling and the resisting and the pushing and the shoving and the hurting and the maiming and all of these other words that create the suffering, right? What would happen if we stopped fighting each other? Billions and billions and billions of dollars, are used to figure out ways to hurt people. Isn't that interesting? Wouldn't it be great? I don't know where we're at in consciousness. I don't know if we're ready to just let go of all of that defensive stuff. I don't know. It depends on our consciousness as a country, as a world, as a planet. Where are we at? So it's never good to judge anybody who, comes from a particular perspective. That's just where they are. Tell the person next to you, say, I love you as you are. Jesus taught nonviolence. He said, turn the other cheek. There was no anger, judgment, or violence in the nature of the Christ. They said that Jesus would not even step on a plant and break it. Think about that. The sensitivity you have to have, that depth of awareness. He said, my yoke. He said, I don't want to burden anybody. He said, it's easy. My burden is light. It's simple. What kind of God would require the death of an innocent victim in order to satisfy his offended sense of honor or pay off a penalty that he himself had imposed in the first place? Would a loving parent make forgiveness for the child conditioned upon a violent act? I don't think so. Rational, logical thinking, along with a bit of intuition, says it doesn't add up. Here's what Jesus said to Peter when he wanted to fight for Jesus.
Put your sword back in its place, Jesus said to him, for all who draw the sword will die by the sword.
Pretty plain, pretty direct. Maybe this is one aspect Jesus meant when he said, remember me. Taking communion also reveals another truth to us according to Alex Gray.
When we gaze into the eyes of our beloved, we're staring into the eyes of a sacred mirror, and we recognize our oneness.
Taking communion reminds us that we are one with all life. We remember. Think about dismember, right? The body of God is the world that has bought into the beliefs and separation and division. The body is broken apart, and we need to remember, to renew our vision of wholeness and oneness by eating on the bread of oneness and nonviolence and rediscover our wholeness. Jesus said, eat this bread. This is the bread that you need to eat. Drink from this cup, this container of truth. The blood of Jesus represents that divine connection because it was in him, and he was saying it's in me. Guess what? It's also in you. If you feed upon the bread of teachings that are of lower vibrations, you will only add to the separation. Barbara Marx Hubbard reveals,
I came to a clear internal realization that there was nothing I could do as a separated self that would ever fulfill me. Contemplate that. Chew on that. In a few moments, we're
we're going to partake together the symbols of truth and love, the world that actually supports, protects, and unfolds us. We all get to choose the kind and quality of the world that we live in. We make a choice every day by what we eat and what we drink. And finally, we're going to give Gandhi the last say.
Our ability to reach unity in diversity will be the beauty and the test of our civilization.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. Let's give Lisa a hand for this morning. Beautiful words. Beautiful words. So we're going to prepare our hearts now to partake of communion. I'm going to ask the ushers to get ready. And I want you to chew on some of the ideas and the thoughts that we've put out there today. And meditate on and contemplate. You know, when I do communion, I take it seriously. I say, okay, what's going on in me? You know, where am I at? I do a little reflection. It's a moment of grace, time to reflect. So we're going to ask the ushers to come forward and then hold the communion, and then when it's time, we'll all do it together. All right? If you need a vegan or gluten-free option, we also have that available. Take this breath, I give to you, and as you do, remember me. This bread is my body, broken for you. Take it and eat it, and each time you do, remember. Take this cup, I fill for you, and as you do, remember me. This cup is the new covenant I'm making with you. Take it and drink it, and each time you do, remember. Remember me. Take this love, I've given you, and as you do, remember. yourself. Remember me. Remember me. All right. Let's take a breath together. And we're going to turn down the lights. And just breathing in and breathing out and just being aware of your breath. Knowing that you are an awesome child of God. The beautiful being of perfect light and wisdom. There's nothing wrong with you. Not really. Chew on that. But look within and let yourself align with the truth. What is the truth? Uncover your wholeness that's already there. Your true divine identity. I am love, I am peace, I am joy. And so when you're ready, I invite you to partake of the cracker, the bread. And as you chew on it, let yourself meditate, contemplate the all-loving goodness of God. You are so loved and cherished. Remember me. The Christ, the universal Christ says, remember me. I'm with you always. And when you're ready, I invite you to partake of the grape juice. As you drink it in, you feel it go down your throat. You're taking in the life force. The blood represents the life force, the life of God. Wow. I am one with my divine power. I'm one with God. And I am grateful. I'm grateful. And so just hold your cup there. In a moment we'll have somebody come and pick it up. But right now I want you to just focus for just a moment on your heart. On your heart. How you feeling this morning? How is it with you? Let's say together, I am well. I am well. And we take into ourselves that wellness, that wholeness, that healing energy of the Christ. If you know of someone that you want to pray for this morning, I invite you to whisper their names aloud. Bring them into this moment. Holding a thought of them. And maybe affirm together a prayer. I see you holding well too, my friend. I see you surrounded in a blanket of peace and love and kindness. I see you experiencing that divine source for yourself and receiving all that you need in your life now. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. I invite you to, this morning, get a vision of our community, hand in hand, supporting each other, assisting each other, respecting each other, honoring each other. Hold that vision in your heart. And then let's allow that vision to spread out from our town here into other towns and cities, states, countries, nations. And let us see the whole world as it truly is. I've read about people who've actually lifted off from the planet. And they say when you look back at the earth, you don't see separation and division. You just see one beautiful blue ball. You see the vast oceans. Just one planet, one civilization, one people. You see the wholeness, the completeness. So let us hold that vision this morning as well. Let us envision the end of all strife and suffering, war, terror, division. So we accept our mission today to be healers, to be peacemakers, to heal the beliefs in separation. We are grateful. So I invite you now to sit in the silence for just a moment and allow these words to settle in to your heart. And so now, we give thanks for this moment of reflection, this moment of grace, this time where we've communed together. In the name of the Christ and all that's sacred, holy, and good. Amen. Amen. All right. Take a breath with me. You feeling good? Feeling alert? Feeling awake?
Good.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy unity, our unity community here. Oh, yes, if y'all would like to come down and pick up the leftovers.
Why don't I do announcements while they do that?
And okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I want to invite you to just stay in this nice space. Don't come out of this too quickly. We want to welcome all of our first timers this morning. If you're here for the first time and you'd like to let us know. Anybody? Oh, right here. Thank you so much for being here. We trust that you received a welcome packet, and if you'll fill out the connection card, you can place it in that box in the back. And we're so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us this morning. I want to extend special thanks to Reverend James for this beautiful ceremony this morning. I don't know, yeah, it's just really special this morning. So if you're joining us for the first time online, we'd love to connect with you as well. So we'd like to answer any questions you have or just to get to know you a little bit better. So send us your contact information and we'll be in touch. There is so much happening here at Unity that it's really difficult to just take time to mention every event that's going on. So I'm going to ask that you just go to our website, www.unitychurchofgreenville.org. visit the events page and you can see everything that's going on. But just to quickly highlight the things that are happening this week that you need to know about. As James mentioned, he starts a 3-week Zoom class tomorrow night at 6:30. Tomorrow night, keeping the peace, having difficult conversations. Do I need to be a part of these conversations? If I do, how do I do that? You know you're getting ready to have Thanksgiving dinner with Uncle Joe. You probably need this information, so you can sign up out in the lobby on the bulletin board, or you can do it on the website, either way. Wednesday night at 6:30 is our metaphysical discussion. Also need to let you know that Thanksgiving dinner is just right around the corner, so for those of you that don't have other family engagements, or even if you do those early in the day and you want to join us at 4, we welcome you to come and bring your favorite side dish. We provide the turkeys, and speaking of turkeys, we need to know how many turkeys to buy, how many are going to be here. So I see Miss Kayla is holding up a clipboard back there. Please sign up this morning if you intend to be here on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, the 24th, so that we know how many
At 4 o'clock.
At 4 o'clock, so we know how many to prepare for. And if you don't know what you're bringing yet, but you know you're going to be here, get your name on the clipboard so that we know. There was a handout that was given to you by our ushers this morning. Take a look at that. If that's something that you're interested in engaging in, be sure and do that. If you have questions about it, I know Terry's in the building here somewhere, and there she is. You can see Terry about the Christmas cards. The information is on that handout. If you didn't pick one up, if you weren't given one, be sure and pick one up. Finally, prayer is the foundation of unity, and we have several different options for you if you would like someone to hold sacred space with you. First, this morning we have prayer chaplains in the building. They are available immediately following the service. Could our prayer chaplains stand up this morning? Those that are on duty, we should have 2. Prayer
Back
chaplains.
there.
Right there, Mr. Blake and Miss Sally. So
Thank
if
you.
you would meet them in this hallway, there's a door on the left that is marked. They'll be right there. You can have prayer with them. Otherwise, you can leave a prayer request. Forms are in the back. Put those in the prayer request box. Or finally, Silent Unity, which is available 24/7 by phone, online, or by use of their app. Let's thank all of our volunteers who made today's service happen with a round of applause. There's a lot
Yay.
of hands that go into making this happen, so thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you so much.
All right, and next week will be the reveal of the Unity Peace Quilt.
Yay!
Hey! So I hope you'll be here for that, and then we're going to do a little dedication during the service, and so it's really exciting. It's coming together. Why don't everybody who was here yesterday or who's been working on the Peace Quilt, please stand up right now so we can look at you. Yes. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We really, really appreciate it. And the lights that are going up, it's just going to be a fantastic holiday. People will be coming to Unity just to see what this is all about. So we're excited about that. All right, the last thing we want to do is receive our offering today. We're moving along pretty quickly because we want to get you out as soon as we can, so that's why I'm talking fast. So just reach in your pocket, grab as much as you can, and put it in the basket as it goes by you, because it helps us to pay all the bills. Now you see our November income so far is $7,130. Well, we need $20,000. So if you can help us to reach that goal, then that would be what? Optimal. Say with me, that's optimal. That's a good thing. So let's say together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all I receive, and all that I am. All right. Thank you. For love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. For love is my decision. No one else can tell me to stop. 'Cause once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Can you say? Because love is my decision, right here and now. Let's sing it again. Ready? Love is my decision. It's up to me give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Because love is my decision right here and now. Play it for us, Chris. All right, let's all sing together. Let's sing one more time. Ready? Love is my decision. Can you sway a little bit? To give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. Once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Because love is my decision right here and now. It's my decision right here and now. All right, thank you so much.
My apologies.
I want to thank the band this morning. Beautiful, fantastic. Appreciate all of our volunteers. It takes a lot to get this done. It really does. So thank you for being here today. And but you're why we do this. If you weren't here, we wouldn't be doing it. All right? Tell the person next to you, say, you're important. All right. Let's say together our final prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. All right. Take care of yourself. Have a great day. Eat some good food. Drink some good water, whatever you need. Take care of yourself.